Parents, welcome to another episode of The Journey, a podcast intended to educate, equip, and entertain you as we talk about important issues facing our families. PCA is a Christ-centered, biblically based, and family-focused community of committed believers doing life together. We hope the information you hear on this podcast informs and inspires you to be a better parent. Welcome to The Journey.
All right, parents, welcome back to The Journey. Dan Panetti. I'm up at the North Campus, and I've got our state championship, football team representatives here. Coach Purcell, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yes, yeah. And this is the first team championship. You guys know that, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because we had an individual championship last year. Anybody remember who?
Caleb Drake.
Boom. Thank you. Thank you for remembering. That's awesome, because we don't want to forget those. But this is the first team that's won a state championship. You guys won six-man football a couple weeks ago. Completely dominated the other team. Not that we want to pay attention to that. But I just wanted to just kind of have a conversation with you guys about the season, about what you learned, about some of the things that you wanted to tell the parents about your experience, right, in kind of doing this. So first of all, congratulations. Let's do this. Let's start with just kind of who you guys are, so our parents kind of get to know you, and we'll start down at the end. Tucker, tell us who you are, what position you played, what year you are. Kind of give us a little bit of a insight into you.
Yeah, I'm Tucker Richardson. I play linebacker and receiver, and I'm a senior.
And we can kind of pause along the way as we go, because as all the accolades start coming out, right? Mm-hmm. We just learned that Tucker is first team All-State for receiver.
Yes, sir.
And second team All-State for linebacker.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Very good. Jackson?
Yes, sir. So I'm Jackson McAdams. I'm a senior, and I play defensive lineman.
Okay. Accolades for you? Second team All-State?
Second team All-State, and then, first team All-District.
First team All-District. Very good. Yes. Reed, what do we got?
Yeah, my name is Reed Thornberry. I'm a junior. I play tight end. I play D end. And I got first team All-State in both of those.
Very good. Well done.
My name is Mason Purcell. I'm a junior, and I play safety, and I got first team All-State safety.
Awesome. Very good. And who are you?
So I am Coach Purcell.
Yeah.
And this is my fourth season.
Yeah.
And we began football 4 years ago, 3 years with varsity, and so excited in 3 years where these guys have taken the team.
And we were talking about how this is your first state championship as a coach.
And I've been coaching, this is my 26th season.
So you started coaching when you were like 8.
Right.
You started coaching in high school.
We'll stay with that.
Yeah, so
we'll stay with that.
You've been coaching a long time, but.
Right. But this is a special team.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Just because we started with the seniors when they were sophomores, coaching them 3 years, with these two when they were in 8th grade. And, It is really a special season.
Yeah. Okay, so first question, for those who don't know about six-man football, who wants to tell, those people who are listening and watching, what's the difference, What would you say the difference between six-man and 11-man football is, just in what you guys do, what you guys are able to accomplish, kind of what does the game look like? Kind of explain the difference.
Other than the fact that there's 6 people on the field instead of 11, the field is 80 yards by 40, so it's smaller field.
Okay.
And you can't QB sneak, so the first person who receives the snap can't carry the ball. He has to pitch it back to someone. And the center is eligible for passes downfield, so our center is basically a tight end.
So cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
A lot faster pace. You pretty much just take out the O-lineman, D-line. Just take a lot of them out, and there's your 6. That's a lot faster pace.
There you go. I love it. Anything else?
Fast pace is the best way to explain it.
It is, and pretty high-scoring games,
Yes, sir.
right? I mean, that's the one thing is sometimes when I looked at your scores, I was thinking, have we moved into basketball season already, or what are we doing? What were some of the higher-scoring games that you guys have been in this year?
I think 70 in the state championship was our highest scoring game.
Yeah, definitely.
Save the best for last. Way to go.
Well, in a lot of their other games where they scored 40, 50 points, or in 2 quarters.
Or in 2 quarters, yeah.
One of the differences in six-man is if you're up by 45 points, there's a mercy rule.
Okay.
So, to be honest, these guys played till halftime the majority of the season, and we're up by 45 points.
Now, you guys do know that your stats would have been better if you just kind of
That's correct.
right? Just kind of hung at like 38 points and just kind of
Yeah.
played the second half. But you guys were like, nah, we want to get to Whataburger. Let's get done with this thing. Move on. We're done at half.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the parents actually are probably appreciated that. So I will say this little tidbit that I learned about you guys is you guys went down to Waco to play the state championship game. When you guys left the locker room and you guys got on the bus and headed back home, right? Victory in hand. Way to go. There was a custodial crew that comes in after every team leaves the locker room, right? And you guys don't know this because you left the locker room. But apparently the custodial crew came in and they had nothing to do because you guys had cleaned the locker room. And I told Coach that, and Coach said, yeah, that's just kind of a standard expectation. Leave the bus, leave the locker room better than when we went in, right? What's that like? Just other than football, what are some other things, life lessons that you guys feel like you've learned along the way?
Yeah, I think that's accredited to our coaching and the way they pour into us and focusing on our manhood and not just about a bunch of football players. And part of that, it's also the leadership within the team. Every week we have captain-led devotionals where we get to just talk about what it means to be a godly man and live for the Lord. And so it's an expectation for us, and I would say this locker room understands that when we're playing football, we're playing to honor the Lord. And yes, we're playing a game, we're playing to win, but it's more than just football, and that's really brought us together as a brotherhood to live for Christ and honor Him in everything we're doing.
Yeah, I'm glad you started with it starts with Coach, it starts at the top, but I'll tell you, it starts at the top, but if you don't have guys who buy into it and lead from your position, right, as young men, doesn't really matter what he does, right? He can be up there saying it all day long. But if you guys don't buy in and say, yeah, well, this is the kind of men that we want to be and the kind of team that we want to have, right, then, right, I mean, it starts at the top. But, you know, as you said, your leadership as young men with your team and kind of holding that expectation and making everybody rise to that. So kudos to you. I know 3 of you guys were captains this year, right? So congratulations to you and the standard that you set, right? Obviously, you know, you may not always see it, but just understand people are paying attention to those things. So good job. What else? Any other things that you guys learned? Well, let me ask you this. What was the most exciting, take the state championship game out, sorry, just the most exciting part of the year for you guys? Was there any one thing that kind of stood out? It can be from an individual thing, like something that you did, something that you accomplished, or just from a team perspective of like something that happened unique throughout the year?
For me, I would say the past 2 years we lost in the first round of the playoffs.
Okay.
And so, like, a really exciting moment for me was when we won our first playoff game. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
Here we go.
We get to go make a state run. So that was probably the most exciting moment for me.
That's pretty cool. Yep. Jackson, anything fun and exciting this year?
I mean, that's what I was thinking of, was getting past the first round and moving on from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good, especially as a senior. You know, like the mindset of that's your last game. You know, this is it. You know, you put it all out in the field. Either you go to practice next week or you're done for good. You know, so
Yeah. That's good.
I think a great moment for me was like the first 3 games, us kind of realizing like, hey, we have a shot at this. Like we have a shot at state. And like we had a bunch of dudes like showing up, and like I've never seen them play that good before, and I was just like, it just got me so excited. I realized how much of a blessing this was, and like we actually have a shot.
Yeah. Now, you guys didn't win every game.
No,
I mean, this was like, you know, hey, we're dominating every team, and we're just walking into state. Here's the trophy. We don't know how to play the game. You guys lost a couple of games. What was that like? What's losing like in the locker room?
It definitely wasn't fun because the school that we played was a couple.
They were in the division
above us. So it was a close game. Like there's kind of like some of us were like excited because we just almost beat this school that was a lot bigger than us, but also we can't really let that happen. Like if they can beat us, then other schools can beat us. So we had to kind of bounce back from that.
And I will say that loss was early in the year.
Yep.
But it was a real character-building, defining moment for these guys.
Yeah.
They got down. I can't remember.
40-16, I think.
About 30 points, and they clawed their way back in. And I remember at halftime, the captains coming out saying, "Keep fighting, keep fighting. We got this." And they came back and actually, at one point in the fourth quarter, scored a tying touchdown that got called back and ended up losing by 8 points.
Yeah.
So
the Michael Jordan rule. You guys actually didn't lose. You just ran out of time.
Yeah. Right.
Very
right.
good.
But it was a defining moment where I think the team realized we can come back.
Yeah.
You know, it's not over till it's over.
And to add on to that, like, yes, we lost and losing sucks, but walking away from that game, I didn't feel like we lost in the end because second game of the season, we needed someone to go toe-to-toe with us and show us that we're beatable. I think Reed kind of mentioned that, but from that point on, like, there wasn't – the attitude in the locker room was we have to come out, we have to play our best game. It doesn't matter who we're playing. And just the way leadership stepped up in that game. And at that point, I realized that this year was going to be the year that we weren't going to fold or we weren't going to go under when the competition hit and when the game was tight, that we were going to stand tall and still fight and play our game and come back from those defeats. And that's what you have to expect in football because, you know, in our playoff semifinal game against Nazarene, there were times when they punched first and they hit us hard in the mouth and we had to respond. And I think the loss that came week 2 is what built that character, so we were able to respond in a big playoff game that led us to the state championship.
Yep. So you guys have been here for a couple of years. You've watched the program grow. You've watched the field and all the equipment. I mean, tell me what it's like to just kind of – I mean, you're literally kind of building the program from the ground up. A lot of people would look at this and say, hey, you don't have everything that all the other places have. What about just kind of, you know, your appreciation for being a part of something that you're building? What's that been like?
I'd say it shapes you more as a leader because there's nothing before you, so you kind of have to take responsibility and man up and be like, all right, we're going to do this. And so it's also fun to just start something new here. And so I thought it was really cool, not just to win like the first state championship here, but just to be like the first football team here. Yeah. And so it's just been fun. Yeah.
You got to follow that up with something.
Yeah.
He's processing.
It's really cool being the first team to, like the first people to do this at the school. And I know before, like, it's easy to be kind of like ungrateful because we're not at like a huge school and we don't have all like the best of everything equipment. But you know, I kind of took it for granted. But then I kind of realized, this is all a blessing. Like everything here is God has put each one of us in this school for a reason, to glorify Him. And so I should be nothing but grateful to be here, which I am. I'm really grateful to be here and to have won. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Tell me about coaches, and I know Coach is sitting right here, right, or Dad. What about just some of the other coaches and some of the other trainers, coaches? Anybody kind of like stand out to you as just some individuals that you've enjoyed kind of doing the season with?
I can brag on Coach Roach a little bit.
And his hair? Is that what we're going to talk about?
Yeah.
Right? Like the man bun thing? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, hey.
Yeah. One, just as a coach, like how relatable he is, because he was in our shoes at one point, and just a great coach. But like as far as football goes, the way he would pick apart an offense and like how much he would study another team.
Yeah.
And I think that was a huge key to our success defensively. Like for example, the Aylesville game. I mean, he broke that offense down so well to where we could almost I could almost tell you most of the plays that they were about to run.
You were telling them what play they're going to run?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like, hope you can do it.
So,
that's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Others? Tucker, anybody stand out for you?
Yeah, Coach Roach was the first one that came to my mind because he just brings so much fire. Like in his pregame speeches, he gets us all going.
Oh, boy.
Ready to run through a brick wall. And I think part of that is, Jackson mentioned it, that he played at Prestonwood, Plano, and he was playing for a state championship game, so he knows like what it's like to be in those big moments. Yeah. And so he fired us up. And it's hard to choose just one coach because they all poured into us. And adding Coach Price to the staff this year was huge. And just his knowledge of football and how the game works was incredible to watch.
Yeah.
It's awesome. What about your parents? What's just home life? What have your parents, siblings, right, as you guys have gone through this, what have kind of those conversations been like at home?
Go ahead.
What I've kind of realized is so unique about our program here is how involved all the parents and all the dads are.
Yep.
Like the dads show up to everything, and I've never seen any.
Even when they're not invited.
Exactly.
Right? There they are.
Like I've never heard a negative comment from them. They're always just the most encouraging and involved dudes ever. Like I know some of them have led devotions. It's it's so cool seeing, that amount of like commitment and just like they're just involved in everything. So,
love it. You guys, any conversations? Your parents? Anything?
My mom's a little bit crazy about football. The morning of the state championship, she woke me up to the song on a loudspeaker.
There you go.
We Ready?
That's right.
Just playing throughout the house.
Yeah.
So she was probably more hyped than me.
I was going to say, suit her up and throw her out there,
so
right?
she loves it though.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, what about you guys are seniors, right? What are your plans for next year? Can you talk a little bit about that?
no pressure.
Next year, I'll be attending Texas Tech University.
Studying?
I'll be studying agricultural business.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And attending what church? Have you figured that out yet?
There's a church called Redeemer that I've been to a couple times now and that I like a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Look at that. He's got a name for a church at the university that he's not even at yet. Pay attention. Pay attention. All right. It's a good church, good community out there.
Yes,
Tucker, what are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm his roommate. We'll both
No way. Are you kidding?
We'll both be at Texas Tech next year.
Oh, my goodness.
My sister's out there right now. She's
Okay.
in the OT program.
Yeah.
She goes to Redeemer, and so I love their church. Their pastor is scripture-based pastor. He teaches scripture, and teaches it for what it is. And they do some other cool stuff, like they take communion every week. So, I love Redeemer. I've been there several times with my sister and our whole family. We did Easter there. It's been really cool to just have that comforting plan.
What are you going to be studying?
I'll be studying architecture.
Okay. Now, are we done with football then? Like we hung up the cleats? What do you? Oh, you got that look in your eye. Like,
I mean, I'll be like trying to get a walk-on spot at Tech.
Okay.
But, like, who knows what that'll be? If not, I can just. I've talked to my dad about it. Just make connections with the coaching staff.
Sure.
And then maybe one day, work on be an assistant coach or something, an intern on the Tech coaching staff.
That's awesome. All right, we'll be praying for you in that.
Appreciate it.
That's a big deal. And then you guys are returning,
Yes.
right? And Coach was telling me that he's like, hey, we got some good guys returning, and I was like, well, we should have brought them in, but he's like, they weren't available, so we brought you guys in. What are you guys looking forward to next year? Right? You won. Okay, I'll just tell you, you've won a state championship, right? So now in the back of your mind, you're thinking, hey, would you do this again, right?
How to defend it. Yeah.
But you know how much work it takes to get there, and right, it doesn't just happen, right? So what are you guys thinking about for next year, and what the program looks like, and is there anything that you would like to see, not necessarily different, but just like anything you want to see next year that you guys didn't have this year?
For me, it's definitely just motivation.
Okay.
Just like the off season, just work hard, get better for next year. And so, it's kind of like not winning for me is kind of like that wouldn't be a successful season.
Okay.
So that could be a negative thing too. But I want to see like everyone was bought in this year, and so that's something I want to see again. Just everyone being bought in and just working hard.
Yeah.
So.
What about you? Next year, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I vouch for that. I definitely want to see I'm very looking forward to seeing all their the mindsets of everyone, because everyone was all in this year. I really want to see that with those same guys next year, and to pour into the new guys like the freshmen and sophomores stepping up. I really want to see us, like the older guys, seniors, juniors, just pour into them, because they're going to be the next ones on the field when we're gone. We got to replace ourselves.
Do you think Coach is ready for another Thornberry as well, or is it you can only do one at a time? I know.
Yeah, it's going to be neat to have two Thornberries on the team next year.
I hope you're not tired of Thornberries yet.
No, not at all. One thing that's unique too, I think, about the juniors and the team that's behind these seniors, we played on a Thursday. And then Mason was texting me after church on Sunday saying, hey, Dad, the guys are wanting to go work out. They're wanting to get in the weight room. They're wanting me to come over. I mean, they were already talking about lifting and getting back in the weight room, and they just won a state championship. Yeah. So their eagerness and their passion, their hunger, I think, is what that shows. Yeah, it was pretty neat to hear them say that.
I love it. Okay, so last question, right? Coach Purcell's sitting here, so let's just talk about him for a second. What was he like as a head coach? Thoughts? Careful.
One of the things that stood out to me, because I've, like, going to church, you see a lot of other people coming from other schools and hearing about what, football's like there.
Yeah.
One thing that I respect a lot about Coach Purcell is, yes, we're gonna play, we're gonna give it all on the field, but ultimately we're here for one purpose, and we have to keep that in mind when we're playing. That yes, the wins and losses, those are going to happen, but we should just to keep in mind that we're all brothers in Christ, and that's what it's really about, and that's what matters. And so having a coach that understands that and knows that, even in the heat of the moment, is something that I look up to and respect a lot.
Yeah, pretty unique, pretty special thing to have.
Yeah, I touched on it earlier, just about them pouring into us and the way that they treat us and different things like that, and care about our manhood. That's one of the things that Coach Purcell's done a really good job of. And this year's theme was Trust God, and it's easy to say trust God, and it's easy to tell other people to trust God, but Coach Purcell's lived that out, and it's evident on the football field that no matter what's happening, he's trusting God through it, and so that's been something that has helped, I think, the whole locker room trust God, is seeing our coach bought into the idea of trusting God, and showing what it looks like to trust God, no matter what the circumstances are.
That's awesome. Well, gentlemen, congratulations on the victory, the accolades, right? All the pats on the back. You guys deserve it. You guys have worked hard, but right, you guys aren't just victors on the field, right? You guys are victors off the field as well. So appreciate you guys. Be praying for you guys as you go out and room together. Which, can I tell you, right? It's a good way to hold each other accountable, right? To have another man of God, right, in the room with you, saying, "Hey, get up early, work hard, right? Keep your nose clean, right? Stay in church, stay in the Word of God." So it looks like a good choice for a roommate. You two guys doing that together, and you two guys coming back next year. Our expectation is that we're sitting here again next year having the same conversation,
Hopefully.
right? And not just talking about your victories on the field, but off as well. So, Coach Purcell, thanks for your time. Thanks for leading these young men and helping to train them into the men of God that we see before us today.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
congratulations.
So much. Appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for investing the time to listen to this episode of The Journey. Please take a minute to share with friends and family who will also benefit from this valuable resource. And don't forget to rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast app. It is truly our blessing and honor to walk with you on The Journey.